Hey everybody, it is good to see you on this, what is this? This is Tuesday night. This is Cryptid night, right? It's been a long time since I've actually done a Cryptid show, so I'm going to be probably a little bit rusty on this. So if you guys see me okay, hear me okay, just throw me a 7x7 in the chat. And in the meantime, I will try to say hi to everybody. Got my brother, Mr. AJ. How's it going tonight, brother? Yeah, hopefully the work phone doesn't ring. Yeah, I'm on call right now, but it's not going to ring. Good to see you, brother. Nate stopped by, says, I will watch it later. Another site is on 2 rats. It's okay. TJ Squatchy, who let the Dogman out? Good to see you, TJ. Shadow Files, good to see you. Dogman for real? I can't wait for this one. Yeah, Dogman's pretty cool. Good to have you with us, Shadow Files. Let's see. Shadow Files says cynocephaly. That, I should know that. Cynocephaly. African, maybe? And that's African, the dog-headed beast, some sort from over that way, I think. I could be way off. AJ says, I have identified the Dogman as Dean Jones, the 1974 movie, The Shaggy DA. It is possible. Shift Kicker, good to see you. How's it going tonight? On your way to work. Good luck with that. Karen Burnfin, how's it going? Good to see you. Let's see. We got Miss Lake Fairy in the house. Literally. Let's see, who else we got? We got Ruben D. Good to see you, Ruben. Cynocephaly is the Dogman thing. Yeah, I think it's... I'm probably wrong. I was thinking Africa, but probably could be wrong. Could be wrong there. It's good to see everybody. Harvest Merry Moon. Thanks for stopping by tonight. Yep, we're family here. Appreciate you being here. We got Miss Susie D. How's it going tonight, Susie? Susie likes cryptids. Susie likes Bigfoot. Dogman's not too awfully different than Bigfoot, but there are some differences. So yeah, I think it's been, what was the last cryptid that we did? I'm asking my wife right now. What was the last cryptid that we did? Was it Jersey Devil?
Yeah.
Jersey Devil, I think, is the last time we did. And we've done Mothman. We've done a bunch of Bigfoot shows. Let's see. All makes sense now. Need prayers. Lost my son, 40 years old, April 10th. Wow. He left 3 boys and his life partner of 20 years. All right. If I know a lot of you guys are prayer warriors. If you can make a note of this one, it's all makes sense now. And lost my son, 40 years old. Wow. And 3 boys. Yeah, we'll definitely keep you in our prayers. That's for certain. Sorry to hear that. You know, when you do things like this type of show, and it's like sometimes it's hard because life kind of has a way just to beat you up a lot of times, and we try to do some of these things to kind of have a good time and enjoy, but it's rough sometimes, and it's there's no words that we can say to make that feel any better. That's for certain. We could take just a moment and go to God and ask for His presence there. So let's take a minute and do that. It just doesn't feel right not doing that. So Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together tonight, and Lord, you see the prayer request that's been lifted up here for our friend. Lord, you see the loss, and there's nothing that we can say or nothing that we can do to make that any easier. It's tragic and it's heartbreaking. But Lord, in this life, we must carry on. And Lord, we ask that you be with the children and let them know that they're not alone. Be with their mother. And we ask for your touch on the family. And Lord, you know what it's like to lose a child. We ask for your touch upon the entire family. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. You know, if you guys know me at all, it's God first, right? It's God first, and even if we're doing these inconsequential, cryptid shows, he's always first. So never pass up a chance to pray for somebody when it's given to you in the middle of anything. I don't care what you're doing. Stop and pray. Don't just put them on your list. That's good. But as Han Solo says a lot, just do it. Just do it. Stop and pray. So it's hard. That's hard. It's tough. It's tough. But, we got a lot of friends here. So let's see. We had a few more people stop in. Say hi to some folks. Let's see. We got Garden State Gardener. Good to see you. Garden State. That's Jersey, right? There's Han Solo. Good to see you. Just do it, right? We got Suburban Hillbilly. Good to see you. ER. How's it going tonight? Lucian Prepper. Good to see you. There's our brother TH2. My wife always calls TH2 her big bro. Yeah. All right. So yeah, it's been a while since we've done a Jersey. Okay. It's been a while since we've done a cryptid show. The last one we did was the Jersey Devil, and I used to do these shows all the time. Every Tuesday night was 7:00 was a cryptid show, and kind of got away from that a little bit, but still something I have a lot of fun doing. It's just a passion, just doing the research and looking at the history of things. That's what I like a lot about it. My wife said, bringing out the evil so we can squash it with the light. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, for protection over.
Yeah, and we always pray for protection. And Southern Prepper 3, good to see you. And Sea Wolf, good to see you. Appreciate you guys stopping by. So, Sea Wolf?
No, Southern Prepper.
Oh, Southern Prepper 3. My wife's asking, Lake's asking, how's Liz? How's your daughter? Tracy, good to see you. Okay, so we're going to get going here. So I would like to ask you guys a question before we even start talking about these things. There's TJ Squatchy. There can never be too many Sasquatch stories. I agree with that. Have you guys heard of the legend of the Dogman or the Michigan Dogman? It's I definitely heard about it growing up in Ohio. It's a very Bigfoot also, but in Ohio, Dogman stories are around. But it's mostly, I think it's the peninsula of Michigan where a lot of this has taken place, and the surrounding areas. Let's see. So Susie's never heard of Dogman. Garden State Gardener hasn't heard of Dogman either. Okay. I know TJ Squatchy's heard of Dogman. Let's see. We got Suburban Hillbilly. I have not. All right, so this will be something new. It'll be something new. Shift Kicker's heard. All right, Southern Prepper has not. Okay. So Dogman is one of those cryptid stories where it's kind of focused in a particular area. Like I said, it's mostly known as the Michigan Dogman. That's what you'll hear it called quite often. And the surrounding areas also, we're going to talk a little bit later into the show about an area just outside of that region where there's a pretty famous sighting of Dogman, and some books and a movie actually based off of it. Maybe you guys have heard it, The Beast of Bray Road. That's kind of along the same lines of what we're talking about here. But as far as this Dogman, many tales have been told by those who live near or have grown up, in the state of Michigan and the surrounding areas from the time they've been children. But many of those tales, they involve this eerie feeling. It's a skin crawling uneasiness. It's like the sensation one feels when you're being watched. You know that feeling. You just feel like you're being watched. It's just weirds you out. And oftentimes this takes place in a forest, perhaps just near a wood line. The feeling that something is there. It's just watching, and it's waiting, and it's watching and waiting for something. It's just there. So could it be that something is indeed just beyond your sight, staring back at you? Or could it be that the chills that run down your spine are simply the result of hearing the tales that you've heard since your childhood? It says that could that be what's triggering this? Tales that are describing a beast. It's a beast that stands over 7 foot tall. And that's when it's standing upright, as this beast has also been seen prowling around on all fours. This is a beast with a torso that is resembling a furry man. Just a man's legs, a man's body, just covered in hair. And with a head looking much like a dog's. It's like a canine style head. So I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight as we dig into this mystery of this strange cryptid, this beast that has become known as the Dogman. All right. So that was, I guess you can't really call that an intro because it wasn't at the very beginning, but that was a creation of my wife, Miss Lake Fairy. She did a.
But anything that could happen.
She struggled with that a lot. We were scrambling to put that together, and she got it. She did a nice job with that. I think she did very well. Nuthouse, good to see you. How's it going, brother? Good to see you.
It was very rough.
See, we got Mayhem. Good to see you, Mayhem. I saw this comment come in. Angry Wreck-It Ralph. Always got good feedback. The creature is described as a 7-foot tall, blue-eyed or amber-eyed, bipedal, canine-like animal with the torso of a man and a fearsome howl that sounds like a human scream. Spot on. That's everything that I've researched. This is it right there. Yep. We got Grinning Owl. Good to see you. Let's see. Angry Wreck-It Ralph. In Michigan folklore, the Michigan Dogman was allegedly witnessed in 1887 in Wexford County, Michigan. That's it. I saw TJ Prep's name pop up here. There she is. Good to see you, TJ. All right. Who else we got here? Okay, I think we're caught up. So if you noticed in that video that Lake put together for this, you saw some pictures of Native Americans. And it's funny how many of these cryptid stories have their roots that go back to Native American folklore. I see it all the time, even with Sasquatch, even with the stories of the Wendigos, the stories of skinwalkers, all of these cryptids. The legends go back to the Native Americans. A lot of that is hard to trace as far as like written and recorded documentation, but it's just passed down through their legends, from person to person throughout the decades and centuries. But the Dogman, for the most part, other than what we knew from the Native Americans, for the biggest part, it was kind of just not a big story. It wasn't something. It's not like Bigfoot. Bigfoot just kind of blew up and went over everywhere. Kind of got hit with the Hollywood bug, I guess. But up until like the late 20th century, for the most part, the Dogman hadn't really been brought to light that much. It was just a Native American legend, and its origins go back to the tribes of that area that's local to Michigan, that Michigan Peninsula. And it was specifically the Odawa tribes. It's Odawa. That was the tribe that was in that region of Michigan. And it was in and around the Manistee River area of Michigan. Maybe some of you guys are from Michigan or around that area. Maybe you're familiar with that region. I've never been far north in Michigan, just a very southern part of Michigan. Looking at some of those Native American legends, they consider the Dogmen, at least the Ottawa tribes, they consider that the Dogmen are the souls of these indigenous warriors who have fallen along the way in battle. And these warriors are there to protect the land from anybody that has any type of ill will or wishing any harm on the land. They're there to protect it. And another one of the legends says that the Dogman, they won't harm anyone if that person is of a pure heart. Many don't find that completely true, and they still get the heebie-jeebies when they look along the wood lines and think that something is staring back at them. But a lot of people draw some comfort in the fact that those of a pure heart won't face the wrath of the Dogman. So it's kind of a little bit of a silver lining there. And when we studied the stories of the Wendigo, even the Skinwalkers, when we did streams on both of those, and it was kind of similar, whereas they didn't really target good people. It was more the people who were there to harm the land, and that's when the aggression would come in with these creatures. So that's one of the origins of the Dogman. The Dogman also appears in Chippewa tribal lore, and I don't know exactly the region of the Chippewas. It has to be somewhere local to that, But the Chippewas, they look at it a little bit different. They look at it as far as a shapeshifter type creature, which is much the way the Native Americans looked at the skinwalkers and the Wendigos. They speak of this shapeshifter race who can transform, at will into what we know and what we call the Dogman. This is all facts and stories that we've heard from the Native Americans, passing down these stories from generation to generation to generation. Looking across the different stories, such as the Dogman to the Wendigo to skinwalkers, very similar, very similar. So many of these cryptid stories could actually be overlapped. I don't know, because the stories sound so similar to me anyway, from what I've researched. So many of these legends, they share a lot of detail, but it usually goes back to Native Americans. That's where the origins are. So many of these cryptid stories go back to the Native Americans. So along with these stories that we have from the Native Americans, it's been a lot more recent since we've seen much of any types of sightings of these dogmen. The first sighting that was really publicly reported was Wreck-It Ralph mentioned it earlier. It was in 1887 near a place called Wexford in Michigan. Maybe you guys know where Wexford is at. I'm not sure exactly. It's got to be in the Upper Peninsula somewhere. But in that first sighting, there was a group of men. They were out cutting trees. They were loggers. They were lumberjacks, and they were approached. This group of 4 or 5 of these lumberjacks. They were approached by this group of these dogmen, these dogs. They surrounded these lumberjacks, and the lumberjacks they chased them off, but they just mistake them all for wild dogs, right? Wild dogs. Well, one of them hid. As it was running away, it hid inside of a log, and it was just trying to protect itself, just trying to hide. And being lumberjacks and being human and doing what we do to nature, they started poking sticks up into this log. And when this thing got poked, it let out this human-like scream, high pitched, just like a human screaming, and just this eerie, blood-curdling, human-like scream. And then it darted away. And that's what these lumberjacks reported. And that was really the first widely documented, I guess you would say, report of the Dogman. I want to ask you guys a question. Have you? I don't know if is there any. I want to know if there's anybody in here in the chat is actually from Michigan. I would like to know that. Just curious. Well, I know Prepping 101's from Michigan. I know of one other that's from Michigan. And if you're from Michigan, is there anybody in here that's heard of any reports? Oh, there's several from Michigan. We got Susie and Rubberneck. You guys, have you heard any of these stories of the, because it's the Michigan Dogman. That's the name. That's where this legend is based. Elaine, born and raised in Michigan. Any of you guys from Michigan, have you heard these stories of the Dogman? Like, I'm from Ohio, and I know the stories of Bigfoot there. And I know the stories where I live now in the Adirondacks. Wow, even Jennifer's from Michigan. So there's 4. Let's see. Shadow Files, New Jersey. Never saw the Jersey Devil, but I've seen deer that look like it. Yeah. Some creepy things. What is it? The wood barons or the pine barons? Yeah. Rubberneck. Nope. But you would think I should have. Elaine's heard of it. She said it scares her. Seawolf. I'm 1/3 Native American, Chippewa. All right. Our tribe is North Dakota. My dad said he was afraid of the medicine men. Yep. Let's see. Jennifer says, yes, heard the stories of the Dogman. Yep. Julianne, I've heard of Dogman. I'm from Michigan. All right. So the legends are out there. Yes, you're right about it. Jennifer saying, I think there may be a song about it too. And I'm actually going to share the lyrics to this song in a bit, because those lyrics kind of triggered a lot of things. They really did. Yeah, the Pine Barrens. That's Jersey, where the Jersey Devil's at. Yeah. Shadow Files Dogman sounds interesting. It really is. Yep. Oh, wait a minute. We got our playground was the woods. All summer, all day. And Manistee, I hated and feared the dark. Wasn't Manistee? That's where this, like, most of the sightings were, right? Manistee. Let me double check my notes here, but I'm pretty sure it was Manistee. The Manistee River. You might want to set some cameras up, Susie D. Jerry Lee, I heard of Dogman in southern Wisconsin near the border of Illinois. Yep, that's that Wisconsin border area. That's where Bray Road is. I believe so. Let's see. It's the Beast of Bray Road. Yeah. Not sure. Well, yeah, it's kind of like that. Jennifer says, yes, also Bigfoot sightings in that area. Susie D, yes, we were on Lake Michigan and in the Manistee River, always felt creepy. So we have this firsthand witness here of that feeling that we talked about earlier on, where you get that sensation that something's just there, maybe something in the woods just watching. Let's see. Susie says, creepy, like we weren't supposed to be there. And that's the feeling that so many people talk about. Garden State Gardener, she didn't get the chills before. She will now. Harvest Merriman, yes, that I have heard of Dogman, not from there, though. Okay. So we got a lot of people who are actually kind of close. This is it's pretty exciting. I mean, there's a pretty good group of people here that have this legend right in their own backyard. It's pretty interesting. The next sighting that was, there have been many sightings of this Dogman or the Dogmen. But the second one that was a little bit more widely reported. Okay, we got Susie with another comment. Yes, like being watched. We didn't even want to get out of our car in the city by the river. That's exactly what we were talking about. Shadow Files, there are other accounts of Dogmen in ancient times. Yep, exactly. I think you're right, Harvest Mary Moon. Susie, you need to invest in some trail cameras. I would be doing it. ER, like you have heavy rain now, you need a large loud knock at the front door. Shift Kicker, my aunt told stories of the Dogman. Let's see. Nuthouse Chance on YouTube saw him. Peanut, you talking about Dogman? Hey, Lois, good to see you. Yeah, I think Susie needs some trail cams. Yes, the Dogman. I'm not familiar with Chance. Is that somebody that is that a big channel, or is that just somebody that comes to your channel to watch? It's pretty cool though. Elaine says, "What was the name of the Indian tribe?" Well, there was a couple different tribes. There was the I think it was Ottawa. It was Odawa, Ottawa. And also there was the Chippewa tribe, both of them. That it's in both of their legend and in their lore. Okay, someone I know. All right. So the second semi-popular, highly reported sighting that hit the media was in 1937. So there's a little bit of a gap there. And some of you guys from Michigan, are you guys familiar with the town of Paris, Michigan? I think it's a pretty small town. Maybe some of you Michigan folk know where that one's at. It's got to be somewhere on that peninsula, I would say. Let's see. Susie says there's an Indian-owned casino in Manistee in the Upper Peninsula. Would make sense, right? Yep. Nuthouse Chance said Dogman can stand up, I think, like a man. Yeah. A lot of the sightings standing up, and it's over 7 feet. And then it's also spotted on all fours. So it goes, can kind of travel either way. Let's see. Okay, Elaine knows Manistee. Okay. Hey, Charlotte. Good to see you. Yes, my husband used to live there. Are you referring to Paris? Paris, Michigan? The nut house. Yep, he said it was huge. Yeah, over 7 feet. 7 feet. Let's see. Harvest Mary Moon had a fella here nicknamed Dogman. Now I know why they called him that. Yeah, right. Red Scout, how's it going? Just talking about the Michigan Dogman cryptid. Good to see you, Red Scout. Okay, Jennifer says, in fact, he lived on the Hersey River there. All right. So Jennifer's husband, let me get this correct. Yeah, Jennifer's husband used to live in this Paris that we're getting ready to talk about, Paris, Michigan. So we got another person that grew up with this story in their backyard. Now this happened a little while back. This was in 1937. Was the second fairly popular sighting that was reported in this small town of Paris, Michigan. And the story describes this man. He's out fishing. He's fishing on one of the riverbanks, and I'm wondering if it was that river. I'm very curious. I mean, how many rivers can there be in this small town, right? So there's this man. He's fishing on the riverbank, and he describes this. He thought it was a pack of wild dogs, and they kind of surrounded him, and they're kind of sizing him up a little bit. You know how animals will do that. They'll test you to see, that's why they say to make yourself big, to try to scare these things away. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But these dogs were he said they were kind of sizing him up. And so he's fishing, but he's not unarmed. He has a gun with him. So he fires a warning shot, not at the dogs. He just fires this warning shot up into the air. And this pack of wild dogs that had surrounded him, they all just scattered. That gunshot scared them, and they took off. All of them but one. one of those what he thought were wild dogs stayed right there. And not only did this one dog, according to this fisherman, stay, not afraid of that gunshot, that one dog stood up on its hind legs. And the fisherman describes it locking its gaze on him and staring him down. So picture what this fisherman would think is this pack of wild dogs, which is scary enough, fires the shot. They all flee, and there's one. It's like, and stood up on its hind legs and just staring this fisherman down. The fisherman described this intense, piercing gaze going into his eyes. The fisherman took his gun. He fired. He's like terrified at this point. So he fires another shot. He fires at it this time. And he doesn't really think he may or may not have hit it. But either way, that second shot was enough to get this supposed dogman to take off. So a lot of these stories are just word of mouth from people, but it was 1937, and it's not like they had iPhones there. Let's see. That's funny, Elaine. Let's see. We had a question. CJ says, are there any cryptids in Indiana? Anybody have an answer for that? I would say there's got to be something in Indiana. It's awful flat. It's awful flat there. I don't know. Maybe we can research that one. Let's see. We got Lisiana. Good to see you. ER, alpha male lycanthrope. I like that. That's kind of what this story would make you think of. This pack of wild dogs that scattered when the fisherman fired his gun into the air, and this one's like, no, stood up and stared him down. Kind of makes you wonder if that alpha was a dog man, were the rest of them dog men also. You could go places with these stories. But that second shot, whether it hit this dog man or not, it frightened it away. And there have been a lot of sightings in this Upper Peninsula of dogmen, and they continue like to fairly recent. There's still reportings of the dogman. Now, I'll ask you guys another question. Have you guys ever, other than what I've mentioned here tonight, have you guys ever heard of the Beast of Bray Road? The Beast of Bray Road. There you go. TH2 put a link up there for Indiana Cryptids. Thank you very much. Yeah. So the Beast of Bray Road. That's a, if you follow cryptids much, you're bound to come across that story. Or there's even a movie about the Beast of Bray Road. You can watch all kinds of videos of the Beast of Bray Road on YouTube. It's I think there's been at least, if you go on Amazon and look up the Beast of Bray Road, there are so many books on there about Bray Road. And I'm going to read you guys something. This is a book by, I'm not going to read the book. I'm just reading the introduction. It's called The Beast of Bray Road. This is on Amazon. And it's written by Linda S. Godfrey. It's subtitled Tailing Wisconsin's Werewolf. Now, remember, you've got Michigan, and right next door is Wisconsin. So same region. But I'm going to read the introduction to this book, and it kind of makes you want to read the book. I know that. It says the original account of the 1992, so that's pretty recent, 1992 bombshell news story that revealed reports of werewolf-like creatures in southeast Wisconsin. Now, the story that we were talking about was the Dogman, how it had the dog-like face. But really, that canine, wolf, dog, they could be similar. They could be similar. So this could be the same creature that they're seeing. So the original account of the 1992 bombshell news story that revealed reports of werewolf-like creatures in southeast Wisconsin. The small town of Elkhorn, Wisconsin, made national headlines in the early 1990s with reports of a strange, hairy, wolf-headed creature that walked upright, sounds familiar, and seemed unafraid of man as it stalked the cornfields just outside of town. Journalist Linda Godfrey dubbed the canid sensation the Beast of Bray Road, after the location of the first reported sightings. 2 decades and hundreds of nationwide sightings of similar creatures later, no one has ever proven whether the beast is a flesh and blood canine or a will-o'-the-wisp, demon dog, or a magic werewolf. But the author provides plenty to chew on with sightings of related creatures. Native American connections, historic lore, and a keen-eyed look at possible explanations. Once fully digested, this book may just induce readers everywhere to keep a more careful eye out as they travel lonely country roads after dark. And I've read a little bit more about that book, and the author was she was very skeptical of any of these reports, this cryptid, this mysterious beast, and how can that be real? And I'm going to share something with you guys. When I read of the author of that book, this Linda, it made me think of my wife, Lake Fairy. She's like, what? And I'll explain. When Linda first started getting the reports of this beast out on Bray Road, she didn't really believe it. Skeptical, until she went out there and started investigating, and it wasn't necessarily any creature that she saw that made her think it was a possibility. It was when she started talking to people. And my wife was exactly the same way.
No, I'm like that with Bigfoot.
I'm just
werewolves. I know her.
My wife. She didn't believe Bigfoot was real.
I do now.
But just like this, Linda went to Bray Road and heard these firsthand witnesses telling her what they saw. And then the author of this book, The Beast of Bray Road, starts thinking, wow, I'm looking these people in the eye, and what they're all kind of telling me the same story. Maybe there's something more to this. Well, me and my wife had a very similar situation, but it was involving Bigfoot. We went out to a region close to our home that is pretty famous for Bigfoot sightings also. And she got to talk to one of the officers who witnessed this sighting, Brian Goslin. And we got to sit down with him and have lunch with him, sit across the table and look into his eyes. And we listen to Brian as he's telling this story, and we watch him. And we watch the hair on his arm stand up at certain points, and that reaction, and just the reaction you get from people, that's more convincing to me than a lot. Normally you can get a pretty good feel whether somebody's pulling your leg. I don't think Brian was pulling our leg. I think he's telling us exactly what at least he thinks he saw. So I'll leave it at that. And that's exactly what the author of this Beast of Bray Road, same exact thing. I want to say hi to some folks. Shadow Dancer, good to see you. Dharmagent, good to see you. High Rise 22222, good to see you. Let's see who else we got. Chris McGrath, good to see you. Shadow Files, isn't it possible they live underground? That's a theory. It is a theory. They could come in and out of caves. That's a theory for them and Bigfoot, actually. Oh, Elaine. Wow, I'm not that far from Elkhorn now. Did it follow me from Michigan? Well, Elaine, I would ask you a favor. If you ever find yourself out towards Elkhorn and you take a drive down Bray Road, and I would ask anybody this, anybody watching this, if anybody ever takes a drive down Bray Road, take a picture of that road sign and send it to me. I would love to have that. ER says the Beast of Bray Road, Wisconsin. Hairy humanoid with canine features. The Beast of Bray Road dated back to 1936. That's right. Yep. Let's see. We got Brooks Home Sweet Home. Good to see you, Brooke. Got Rose Young. How's it going?
Do you have anything in your notes about dreaming about werewolves before you get the review?
No. No. Lewis, that's funny. Elaine, are you kidding me? I'm too scared. I'm not making this stuff up. We're just reporting the facts. We're reporting the reports. I'll put it that way.
Don't be scared.
Yeah, nothing to be scared of, right? So this Beast of Bray Road in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. Cap One. I saw the documentary on Bray Road. Thought it was very interesting. It really is. I encourage you guys to check out the Beast of Bray Road. There's a movie, there's books, and it's all over YouTube. It's all over YouTube. Ooh. Let's see. Yeah, that's the thing. I agree with this. Cap One says there's just too many people that saw it. It's like, have you guys ever heard of the theory called? I'll think of it in a second. Give me 1 second. Lost it. I will think of it and I'll come back to it. Yeah, but there's just too many people that saw this thing. And is it easier to believe that every one of these people who saw this thing are lying and making it up? Or is it easier to believe that maybe one of them is telling the truth?
Ooh, I know what that's called.
What's it called?
I can't remember the words, but I remember if you say
Yeah.
it.
That's the principle of Occam's razor.
Occam's razor.
Yeah.
I love razor.
Occam's razor is the principle that out of two possible solutions for a problem or two possible answers to a problem, usually it's the easier and most simplest that is the correct. Now, yeah, you're right, Charlotte. You got it. Is it now with Occam's razor's principle in mind is where the simpler answer, when there's multiple answers possible, is it easier to believe all of these stories of the Dogman, the Beast of Bray Road? Is it easier to believe they're all fake? They're all phony. They're all lies. Or is it easier to believe that at least one? It just takes one. Because if one of these stories is legit, then the whole thing is legit. Right? It just takes one. It takes one. That's right. ER, I will be hoping that I loaded my rifle with a Winchester silver tip hollow points. Let's see. I think the simplest answer is something out there we don't know about. I would tend to agree. I'm impressed, Charlotte. You knew Occam's razor. Hey, just letting everybody know that Lively Prepper is very late, but she is here. just pointing that out. Let's see. Elaine says maybe I'll have hubby take me there and get. I would love that. I would pay for your gas money, unless you're driving from the Aleutian Islands or somewhere. I can't pay for that. Elaine Johnson's gas money.
How? We gotta get a tree down tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's see. Just chilling. That just chilling is from Michigan. That's Dogman territory. Okay, Nosepick and just dropped a link to the Bray Road sign. All right, we're getting somewhere. Let's see. Oregon, we call him Sasquatch. We have statues and signs everywhere. I'll get you some pictures of them next time in the gorge. That would be fantastic. If you, I can't believe I've never thought of this before. This is ingenious. All across, our viewers are all across this country, and there are cryptids everywhere. If you guys can take any pictures of like statues of Mothman or Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or anything, you could just send them to my email. Just send them to bigfootprepper@gmail.com, and I'll put together a slideshow of them. And I think that would be really cool to look at. See, Cap 1, I think, could be interdimensional. It's a popular theory. Shadow Files. We discover new creatures all the time that were once thought to be legend. That's very true. Yep. Harvest Mary Moon. I know there's a Bigfoot. I've heard it and didn't realize there were so many sightings around me till I looked it up. Let's see. Here's the other side. Mass delusional psychosis. Is it? And we're going to talk about this. And I'm going to read you guys something here in a minute that kind of leads to what AJ's talking about there. Let's see. Lewis says there's things we don't know about in the Mariana Trench. So why wouldn't there be something in the woods and the caves we don't know about? That's true. Chris says, when you hear testimonials, you can tell if someone is lying or even exaggerating. But when you hear dozens of people say the same thing with conviction, there must be something to it. I agree with that. Absolutely. Red Scout, supernatural is actually more natural than natural. Yeah, I think that would be cool to have those pictures come in from all the different cryptid locations. Like I want pictures from like Freetown State Forest in the Bridgewater Triangle. I want pictures of Hockomock Swamp. I want pictures of like skunk apes, of Bigfoot and Mogollon Monster, anything you got. Town here has an 8-foot Bigfoot in front of the. I would love that picture. I would love that picture. See, Angry says had at least 14 Bigfoot reports here in Missouri, along with cryptid reports. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in Missouri, and plus you have massive tornadoes. Joplin, that's Missouri, right? We'll do Bigfoot. Appreciate that. Yeah, Lucian, I can't pay your gas money to go to Bray Road. Sorry.
I hear this thing every single night. It sounds like.
Oh, come on.
It's a Bigfoot.
Appreciate that, TH2.
What TH2?
My mother Spark, good to see you. Richard says, I'd love to go looking for a cryptid if there's a group near OKC. That would be fun. Nathan, in Oregon, I tracked it for a quarter mile. Now, what are you actually talking about? A Bigfoot? Left great tracks. That's awesome. Appreciate you stopping by, Nathan. Jennifer says Mackinac City has a couple statues of Bigfoot. I'd love to have pictures of those. Rubberneck says Antarctica. We don't know. Could find stuff there, even if it's a frozen tundra or so they've told us. I don't know if anybody's ever been there. Okay, Richard. Elaine's hubby is here now. Where am I going? Richard. It is Elkhorn, Wisconsin, and there is a road there called Bray Road, and I'd love to get pictures of that road sign. That would be fantastic. Camo Carl. Here's the other side. I am guilty of pranking people in the woods of Michigan back to the 70s, even use ghillie suits as early as the mid 80s. That's the other thing. There is a super famous video that you can see on YouTube that's supposedly supposed to be the Dogman. And it's this creature that's really low to the ground, and it is scrambling super fast right at the camera. It's a hoax. And it looks so real. It looks so real. Let's see, Tennessee Ridge Runner, Missouri here as well. All right.
That would be cool.
Cap One heard you. Lake Fairy described you snoring. Yeah. Rose, that would be fun. A road trip, a cryptid road trip. That would be pretty fun. Let's see. High Rise. I wouldn't be scared to meet a Bigfoot all, and hopefully he or she is friendly. Yeah, that would be good if they're friendly. See, Christy Baum. We had a Bigfoot tracker from Kansas come to our house in southern Oklahoma asking questions and left his card. That's pretty cool. Shift Kicker. Elkhorn is 4 hours from me. You could do that. Richard's ready to go. He's ready to go cryptid hunting. It is exciting. So this Elkhorn, Wisconsin, we never really finished our. That should be interesting. Illusion Prepper says, I'm going to look into our lore here, Bigfoot. I'll let you know what I find out. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. Let's see. Yeah, we were talking about the Beast of Bray Road, and it's been the subject of multiple books. It's been a documentary. There's documentaries on YouTube. There's videos all over YouTube, and there's a 2005 horror film that's actually called The Beast of Bray Road. Just something to watch if you haven't seen that. The sightings on Bray Road, they go back to 1936, and that's kind of where it all began. But this book, Beast of Bray Road, this was way more recent, a lot more recent. So it was in the 1980s. Several reports of sightings from witnesses in this Elkhorn, Wisconsin area, close to this Bray Road. And these reports are pretty intense, actually. You have scratches on vehicles, as in claw marks down vehicles. One witness describes driving down Bray Road, hitting this thing, knocking it down, and getting out of her vehicle to see, well, what the heck did I just hit? And she got out, and this thing jumped up and had these glowing eyes, and it chased her right back into her vehicle. And she ended up with long scratches all the way down her passenger side door. That would have been intense. TH2. No.
That's my big brother.
Shadow Files. There's definitely things in the night in the woods that are almost magical or something, and pretty scary. Aleutian says, I didn't know. I've tried to dig into our local lore, and I never find any, so I guess I suck at doing the research. I'll look into it. Let's see. Shadow Files. Yeah, but the crazy part, Lake, is it didn't attack. I just slowly walked away from it. Let's see. ER. At the end of the day, a bipedal canine or as I like to say, a lycanthrope. Yep, lycanthrope is werewolf. Is very plausible because look at the food source. It's called white-tailed deer, and there's plenty of it out there to eat. It's exactly right. Yep. Let's see.
She's my spirit.
Grinning Owl, 2016. A woman wrote, I just arrived home a few minutes after dark after visiting my parents. Our location is rural, but we do have a few neighbors within shouting distance of us. AJ, don't encourage that. We have 33 acres, very nice, of mixed forest and fields with lots of thick brush consisting mostly of briars. I had 2 young children with me in the Jeep. When I pulled in the driveway that night. Wow. That's a story.
I love reading novels.
Yeah. So yeah, we have the lady hitting this beast on Bray Road, it jumping up and chasing her back into her vehicle. Again, do you just take that story for fake? Because if it's by itself, maybe. But what about all the other reports that kind of point to the same thing? Let's see.
Should email you that story.
Yeah, Grinning Owl. If you could email that story to Lake, that would be great. She loves reading your emails. Also, there's some other interesting things that happen on Bray Road, and it kind of goes along with what we just talked about. These, the white-tailed deer, the food source that ER brought up. There's been reports of these large game animals like deer being mutilated out there close to Bray Road and that surrounding area, and it's like something's been out there feeding on these deer and large game. I appreciate that, Grinning Owl. Yeah. And then let's see, even as recent as July of 2020, there's been reports of these hair-covered upright creatures in the same area, in this area surrounding Bray Road in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. It's just a loaded area. Now, there was things were kind of. The story of the Dogman was out there and people kind of knew about it, but it wasn't really, a lot of people just kind of kept their stories to themselves because it's much like Bigfoot. And when you come out and tell people that you believe in Bigfoot, the first thing they think that you're nuts, which I get that quite a bit and laughed at. Yeah, but anymore, we just walk around. We got Bigfoot all over our truck. We don't care. But it was in 1987, and I know Wreck-It Ralph put the link to this in there earlier. And like I said, a lot of these stories weren't shared because nobody wants to be laughed at like that. But in 1987, there was a DJ in Traverse City, Michigan. That's a pretty fairly good sized city, Traverse City, Michigan. And this DJ's name was Steve Cook. He worked for the radio station, and he didn't really know much about the Dogman, but he knew some of the stories. He knew some of the stories, and while working for this radio station, he put together and produced his own song. I'm not going to play the song because I don't want to get copyright, but I'm going to put the lyrics up there, and we're going to read through the lyrics, and then we're going to talk about it a little bit. Let's see. Can you guys, let me share this. I'll put these lyrics up on the screen. Okay. You guys see that okay? Let me do that. That'll be better. Okay, and this is the lyrics. This song is called The Legend. It's written by Steve Cook. So let's roll down through here and read these lyrics, and you can hear some of the history that we've already talked about. It says a cool summer, and I know this rhymes, but I have the rhyme ability of I don't know. I'll do my best. It says a cool summer morning in early June is when the legend began. At a nameless logging camp in Wexford County, where the Manistee River ran. 11 lumberjacks near the Garland Swamp found an animal they thought was a dog. In a playful mood, they chased it around till it ran inside a hollow log. A logger named Johnson grabbed him a stick and poked around inside. Then the thing let out an unearthly scream, and came out and stood upright. None of those men ever said very much about whatever happened then. They just packed up their belongings and left that night, were never heard from again. It was 10 years later, in 97, when a farmer near Buckley was found, slumped over his plow. His heart had stopped. There were dog tracks all around. 7 years passed with the turn of the century. They say a crazy old widow had a dream of dogs that circled her house at night, that walked like men and screamed. In 1917, a sheriff who was out walking found a driverless wagon and tracks in the dust, like wolves had been a-stalking. Near the roadside, a 4-horse team lay dead with their eyes open wide. When the vet finished up his examination, he said it looked like they died of fright. In 37, a schooner captain said several crew members had reported a pack of wild dogs roaming Bowers Harbor. His story was never reported. In 57, a man of the cloth found claw marks on an old church door. The newspaper said they'd been made by a dog. He had to stood 7'4". In 67, a van load of hippies told a park ranger named Quinlan they'd been awakened in the night by a scratch at the window. There was a dog man looking in and grinning. In 77, there were screams in the night near the village of Bel Air. Could have been a bobcat, could have been the wind. Nobody looked up there. Then in the summer of 87, near Luther, it happened again. At a cabin in the woods, it looked like maybe someone had tried to break in. There were cuts around the doors that could have only been made by very sharp teeth and claws. He didn't wear shoes because he didn't have feet. He walked on just 2 paws. So far this year, no stories have appeared. Have the dogmen gone away? Have they disappeared? Soon enough, I guess we'll know, because this is the time to fear. For another 10 years has come around. The 7th year is here. And somewhere in the Northwood's darkness, a creature walks upright. And the best advice you may ever get is to never go out at night. Okay.
She's got it all up there for you.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Grinning Owl.
Talked about it before, but look at that.
Very nice, very nice.
That's the one I saw.
So this was this DJ who kind of had a little bit of he knew a little bit of the history. He kind of picked some things from some various places, and he didn't know of the Dogman truly. He didn't think it was real. He recorded this song titled "The Legend," and he says he recorded it and played it as an April Fool's joke. Okay, he played this song as an April Fool's joke on his radio station, and Steve Cook was his name. He based this song on myths and from legends. It's from around North America, actually, and he never actually heard of the Dogman before. And this is a quote from this DJ, Steve Cook. He says, "I made it up completely from my own imagination as an April Fool's prank for the radio, and stumbled my way to a legend that goes all the way back to Native American times." So Steve Cook puts out the legend, the story of this creature, this dog-like creature on the radio station as an April Fool's joke. And time goes by, a week or so, and it just didn't get much interest at all. It was kind of a dud. But then something happened. phones started ringing at the radio station, and it just didn't stop. Call after call. Everybody wanted to hear this song. They wanted to hear this song about this dog man. And not only that, as they called in, not only did they want to hear the song, as it became the number one requested song on the radio station, Shift Kicker just shared the link there to that. You can listen to this song. There were so much requests for this song. It became number one on that radio station. Started off as an April Fool's prank, but some neat things started happening also. These people would call in, not only requesting the song, they would say, "Hey, I've seen this thing, and I have reports." And report after report would just start pouring into this radio station. People would be talking about, yes, my grandfather told me this story of this dog creature and this, and these stories just poured in, all of these reports, because once it got out there that, hey, I'm not the only one who's seen this thing, that's when the floodgates opened, because people weren't afraid to share their story anymore. So that's exactly what happened. And all of these stories came into this DJ and this radio station, all because of this April Fool's joke. And the Dogman legend just exploded. It exploded. And yeah, Shadow Files. Who let the dogs out? It's exactly what happened. Somebody let the dog out. I think the DJs did. TJ, have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you for a well-researched cryptid story. Glad you could be here, TJ. Let's see, Camo Car. I lived at the four corners of Wexford, Benzie, Manistee, and Grand Traverse counties for 25 years in the middle of nowhere. Right in the middle of all that. Yep. Right there. Grace says, wow. Yep. Hey, Jason, good to see you.
Send a cherry.
Let's see. Faith B, good to see you. Harvest Mary Moon. Wow, good scary song describes the events well. Yeah, it really did. Oh, is this for real? I'm in Michigan. Well, whether or not the Dogman is real, that's kind of up for debate, but the legend of the Dogman is definitely real, and it is the Michigan Dogman. Yeah, it's a pretty cool song. Yeah, and I encourage you guys, follow that link that Shift Kicker shared, or just all you have to do is go into YouTube and type in Steve Cook, the legend, or I don't know, what else would you put? The legend, Dogman song, or something like that. It'll pop up. And you can hear that song. Elaine says it sounds like Johnny Cash. I haven't honestly listened to it. I've only read the lyrics. Let's see, Kentucky Survival have a similar story of a shape-shifting kind of shadow beast. The mulberry black thing is what the old folks call it. That's pretty creepy. Hey, it's Chuck C. We just talked about Occam's razor earlier. Yeah. Good to see you, Chuck.
I emailed that to you.
Okay, the thing from Gunning Owl?
Yeah.
Okay.
I emailed it to you.
Am I supposed to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can even pull it out of your email if you want to.
Let's see.
Dogman is one of 101's relatives.
Is Grinning Owl still in here? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Just copy and paste the link into your browser. So it's okay to read this on here?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a minute. I'll bring up my I will bring up my email here and I'll read it. Take me just a second. Yeah, Grinning Owl sent me something here relating to this Dogman. Let's see. There we go. Okay.
That was,
And hey, before you, if nobody leave before, I'm going to read this story.
you know, this is less than, it's about 2 hours from us.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's 2 hours north.
I'm going to read this story, and then I want to replay the intro that Lake Fairy made for this video, which I think she did a very, very good job on.
Actually, it's almost 3 hours.
Okay, so I'm going to read this. This is from Grinning Owl. Okay, this is Broome County, New York encounter. I'm just going to read it as it was written because this was sent. I think this was probably sent to another podcast. So we're just going to read it as it's written. It says, "My husband listens to your podcast regularly, and until a couple days ago, I thought he was nuts. While my encounter was not as up close and personal as many of your guests, it was nonetheless terrifying to me, and I feel that it has forever changed me and the way I view the world. I had just arrived home a few minutes after dusk after visiting my parents. Our location is rural, but we do have a few neighbors within shouting distance of us. We have 33 acres of mixed forest and fields with lots of thick brush consisting mostly of briars. I had 2 young children with me in the Jeep, ages 2 years and 11 months, when I pulled in the driveway that night. My husband was working late with an emergency case. It was near fully dark when I arrived home. As soon as I stepped from my vehicle, I felt creeped out. It felt different outside. We have lots of peepers and crickets that would normally be making lots of noise. Even the birds are usually chirping until an hour or more past dark. This time, there was not a sound. It was very warm that evening, so the peepers should have been in full chorus. Because of my uneasy feeling, I was rushing to get the kids in the house. At the same time, I did not want to leave, and that's their name, in the car alone for a minute, as I routinely do. He and our older daughter, who was asleep, are normally too heavy for me to carry together at the same time. That night, though, I grabbed them both, one in each arm, after finding my keys to the front door and carried them both. Usually I would use the auto garage door, however, the opener did not work. When I reached the front door at the top of the stairs and got situated on the front porch, I put down my daughter, in order to open the front door. As soon as I turned my attention back to the front door, it happened. Somewhere to my left came a sound that will be forever seared into my memory. It started low and slowly increased to a moderately loud growl. It was deep-toned, it was guttural, and was angry/hateful in character. It was nothing like anything I had ever heard before, but it did sound canine in origin, especially after spending an hour listening to various animal growls. The growl continued for approximately 10 seconds. I was so terrified. I was fumbling with the keys. I really felt like I was dropped into an 80s horror film. I really did think I was going to die. I was sure any second the thing making this sound was going to pounce upon me and the kids and eat us, right on the spot. The growl sounded as though the creature was standing just off to my left. I refused to look out of fear of what I would see. It sounded so close, and at or even above eye level with me. My porch extends another 5 feet to the left, and then off the porch is the front of the house. There's 35 yards of grass to the edge of the tree line, and there's a field with 2-foot-tall grass opposite that. There's also a small shed between our porch and the tree line. Standing on the front porch from my head to the ground is approximately 9 feet. So I assume it was standing near the corner of the house. I had never been so afraid until a few minutes later, when it actually spoke to me. As the growl continued, it seemed to melt into audible words, spoken in a very deep and gruff tone that seemed to have a rough sort of reverberation quality to them. What I heard as clear as day was, "You can't get in." The only word that I'm unsure of is the first, "you," as the sound of growl transitioned to English words, and it sounded more like just the "yeah" sound. Now I was hysterical and dropping the keys. Finally, I got the right one in and got the door opened and got in. I had to kick my daughter through the door, regretfully. Strangely, she seemed oblivious to what had just transpired, as if she didn't hear it. I slammed the door shut and never looked. I didn't hear anything else that night. I called my husband and his friend to let him know what happened. So I never did actually see what terrorized me because I couldn't look. I've had 2 days to think about this encounter and talk with my husband, who has listened to every episode of Dogman Encounters Radio. I'm fairly certain that this was what was growling at me. The sound was not human and seemed like it was amped or mic'd up because it seemed so powerful. Not that it was a loud growl, but it seemed unnatural. Also, the height it seemed to emanate from and the silence that preceded it led me to that conclusion. My husband agrees because the entire week, he too has been on edge. We have lived here for a year and all seemed normal until this week. Our cat, which is an indoor cat, got out accidentally and has vanished without a trace. She's gotten out before and just stood around until we got her back in the house. Also, my husband said Tuesday night he experienced the silence outside and it really unnerved him too. He says he has never experienced anything so eerie. On Wednesday, he took our dog up into the woods to look for our cat and felt very uneasy. He said the dog kept tucking its tail and turning around, wanting to go home. It's not like our dog or my husband to feel uneasy in the woods because both of them love the outdoors and are very comfortable in nature. On Thursday at dusk, he took the dog around the back lot and says something took off from the thickets at a sprint and came crashing through the woods down the hill towards him. He always carries a sidearm when he is out and is normally not afraid of anything, but he actually turned and ran back up towards the house. Whatever was charging stopped seconds later after he stopped to listen and did not make another sound. He was very concerned when he came in, stating that he knows what big game sounds like, and this was just not right. Even he was surprised that he ran from the sound. The following day was when my encounter happened. After talking about all these events with my husband, we are concerned that there is a dogman in the area. My husband listened to episodes 90 and 91 and is so worried that this thing has decided to stalk one or both of our kids. My husband said that based on those episodes, it sounds like the dogman plans ahead when snatching kids, and he thinks it may have been scouting the area with plans to do just that. He said it was doing that or that it was waiting for me to leave one of the kids in the Jeep for a minute. Either way, none of this is good. The main reason why I wanted to submit this was because it seemed very unique and that it spoke to me. It wasn't the words, but the feeling it gave me that disturbed me the most. It was as if it was trying to give me the impression that I was nothing and that I was weak and just food. I got the impression that it was saying, "Can't get in," like, "Haha, you're mine." It's hard to explain because it seemed like it was conveying its frame of mind and that it was, for a lack of a better description, making fun of me in a very cruel way. I really want to know if you have ever heard of one of these monsters actually speaking. My husband and I really want to believe that our conclusions are wrong, but instinct and your show have us highly convinced that it was in fact a dogman. Says we thank you deeply for keeping the show going, being informed, and not leading us to believe that the monster is probably literally hiding out and waiting for us. That might just save one or all of our lives. Thank you for all that you do. Says please let us know what you think about all this. That was something. Yeah. What do you guys think of that?
I think you're going to have a lot of people on a group call while we try to sleep tonight until they all fall asleep.
Shadow Dancer says, house for sale with creep stuff outside.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing that.
That's in Broome County, New York. That is creepy.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy. Let's see. That was a crazy story. Elaine says, there's a movie on YouTube called Beast of Bray Road. You need to watch it. Not me, just an FYI. I will try and go there this summer to get you some pictures. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Chuck C says, fear is the element that makes a hero shine. I like that. Yeah, Life with Bobby. That was intense. Definitely. Yeah, thank you, Grinning Al, for that. Now, I wanted to play again the intro that my wife scrambled and put together like last minute to do for this. So I'm going to play that for you guys one more time. If you guys missed it, I think she did a good job. This is the creation of my wife, Lake Fairy. I think she did a really good job with that. So, congratulations. Good job, Lake Fairy. She made that in like a half an hour. She did a good job. What Life says, Likens, love it. That's right. Rose Young says, great job. So, yeah. If you guys have any suggestions, if you guys have any suggestions for future streams as far as cryptids, my email is bigfootprepper@gmail.com. Just send me your ideas. I love getting pictures of statues of cryptids. It's bigfootprepper@gmail.com. Yeah, and on the description in the about section of Lake's channel, this channel right here, it's our emails are both in there. So Jennifer says, I have a pic to send you. We just went through Mackinac City a few days ago and I had to take a picture of the Bigfoot statue. Very nice. Okay. Also, while you guys are here, I'm going to ask Nose Pickin' if he will drop his coffee fund link, right?
Yeah.
Nose Pickin's been part of this community for longer than most of us have been part of this community. And I can say that personally, he's helped my wife so much with her YouTube, just getting her going and helping her with things. And both of us, he's helped us, and we appreciate what Nose Pickin does. He's going through a rough time right now. Rougher than I think he's even willing to admit to a lot of people. But if it would be grateful if anybody could help him through his coffee fund, that would mean a lot to me and Lake. It's he's a good friend, and we like to help our friends. So. Chuck C. Occam's razor is me, in case anyone needs it. Okay. Jackie posted to search up Giants in Afghanistan by Creepypastas. Yeah, that's pretty creepy stuff, too. Lewis says the Loch Ness Monster. Thought about that one. Okay, so Nose Picking just dropped a link there. Buy me a coffee. So anything you can do to help out our good friend Nose Picking will be much appreciated. All right, I think we're going to wrap up with that one. Like I said, if you guys have any suggestions for cryptid streams, just email me, bigfootprepper@gmail.com, or email Lake Fairy, either one. We'll both talk about it. And any pictures or stories that you guys want to share, we can talk about on the stream. Email those too, and we will definitely talk about them. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully that was something you guys enjoyed talking about the Dogman. And if not next Tuesday, it'll be coming up one of these Tuesdays. We'll do another cryptid stream. So I appreciate all you guys listening to me ramble all this time, and hope you guys have a great night.